You are the Disney guy around here. You love Disney. You've always loved them.
Love Walt Disney, love what he wanted to create, love what he did create.
Yeah.
I love Walt Disney.
Before we get into the downfall here, can you take us back to the beginnings? What did he want to create? Because I don't think people have any idea what he actually wanted.
Okay, so he just wanted to, he was a newspaper cartoonist, and the first thing he wanted to do was make film. He wanted to make a cartoon. He made the first Mickey is actually a silent, but then that was delayed because sound came out, and so he wanted to make Mickey Mouse with sound. So the first one, not released, in order. First one was shelved so Steamboat Willie could come out. He wanted to break the rules on things. Mickey Mouse became huge. He wanted to make real movies, really studying things. Bambi came out. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was his first. But he studied. He would bring animals into the art department. He wanted to break all of the traditions and do something spectacular. The war hit. His studio was taken over for the war. The unions started boycotting him. And once the unions hit him, he was never really the same. He really kind of gave up on the Walt Disney Company itself as a movie company. And you can kind of see that. The last one he was really into was Sleeping Beauty. And after that, he just didn't want anything more to do with it. And so he started doing the theme park, and he wanted to make a theme park. He did the theme park, but that's not really what he had in mind. He saw that, and he was like, wait a minute. I think there's something here about a city. And when he designed Walt Disney World, it first didn't have the Magic Castle in Disneyland in it. Roy made him do that because Roy said, we got to make money.
Right.
He wanted just to build Epcot, which was the experimental prototype city of tomorrow. And it's genius. Today, it's genius. And I think he saw what's happening now. I think he saw the breakdown of the cities. He saw that we were building cities that were just kind of this bridge between two worlds, even now more so. And he wanted to build these cities all over. He said it was the most important thing that he ever wanted to do, or that the most important thing of his life, and he never did it. The other thing is, everybody claims they loved Walt Disney. Hollywood hated Walt Disney. The newspapers were all snobs. He's a cartoon guy. They did not like him or wish him well. Hollywood didn't like it because he didn't like the unions. And the reason why all of his movies had like Kurt Russell in it is because he had a small pool of actors that would go against, if you worked for Disney, you didn't work for anybody else. And
gosh, it's so hard to believe.
Yeah.
Especially back then.
Yeah, he was trying to break up the studio system. And so if you were working for him, no other studio wanted you.
And now they've turned into the studio
machine.
System. They've turned into the organization that's going to cast you aside and ban you and blacklist you for the things you believe.
It's, we're really discovering big is not always better, These companies have gotten so big, and in the case of Disney, they just handed the entire company over to the employees. It is out of control now. The CEO is not in charge of Disney. He's being held hostage by the cast members now.
And because he's not, I think everyone now looks at Disney and thinks, oh, they're just a bunch of crazy, left woke people. The CEO is not really that, right? Like he was. Well,
he's not. I wouldn't say that he's a Texas conservative.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
But for that role,
for Hollywood,
he is a conservative.
Really?
Yeah. For
role.
Hollywood, for Hollywood, and he just wanted to take the company and just say, let's make movies. Did you, by the way, see, who was it? Was it Mark Andreessen from, is it Coinbase, that kicked, it said, you're fired?
Yeah, to get rid of all the people who were talking politics? Yeah, he's not the CEO. He was a big investor in Coinbase, but Coinbase is the right company that did that. Yeah.
So the CEO of Coinbase came out and said, did you see the Twitter feed? He said it's been a year, came out yesterday, been a year. Best decision I've ever made.
Really?
He said, we are so much more efficient. We're rocketing. Everything is going really well. And the staff is happy.
Well, because those are the things you were supposed to avoid. I mean, there was that don't talk religion or politics in polite company, right? That was always, and I understand that that's just a generalization. But when it becomes the entire focus of your company, the reporting is that Disney went into this and said, look, we've seen some of the hiccups we've had in the past with this. Let's just not talk about it. Let's just make great entertainment for families and do our thing. And now I don't buy that that's what they were doing, at least to my standards. But that was rejected by the employees to the point that they revolted. I mean, they walked out. They walked out.
And I would say, don't let the Disney door hit you in the ass on the way out. I would have celebrated. Okay, good. Now we don't have to fire them. Thank you. Bye-bye. The problem is that instead of saying that, he gave them more power by saying, okay, we're going to make gay-friendly content for children now. Which is what every parent has been screaming for.
No, I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
Actually. So you talked about the original vision of Disney and Epcot, the city of experimental protocol, city of tomorrow.
Experimental prototype city of tomorrow,
okay.
Community of tomorrow.
And what's interesting about that, because you have the original design, right? I mean, I've seen the blueprint. It's incredible.
Yeah.
That he just left behind at a meeting somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But a big part of that planning for the average person in this city of tomorrow was community. It was not built around giant skyscrapers. It was not built around, big, even expansive suburbs where everyone had gigantic yards and no one ever talked to each other.
It was all about community.
How?
All of the houses were facing each other with a park in between. And then there was what's called the Wedway, those cars that constantly run in Disneyland or Disney World in the future section, to the Land of Tomorrow. There were stairs that would go up, and then you would just get onto the Wedway, and that would take you into the center of the city. And it was all built in a circle, and he had concentric circles all the way, but it was all linked. So there was no real traffic, no street traffic, because all of the traffic was underneath the ground. But all of the houses faced each other with this park and had very small backyards, because he thought we shouldn't be in our backyard. The way he grew up is you'd sit on the porch in the sun and, and all the kids would be playing. And so it was just giant park out front. So the neighbors would get to know each other.
And then you didn't drive into your driveway at the front of your house.
No, I think you could there was a driveway behind everybody's house in the alleyway, and you could park behind, but there was really no space behind the house. It was all in front. And everything was made to be community, to bring people together. And it was a remarkable design. I wish they would have made it.
How much of our problems today are a result of us kind of taking a lot of these discussions into an anonymous place like social media, as opposed to actually talking to people in our community, knowing your neighbors who might have different views and talking that stuff out?
Well, a lot of our problems socially are caused by that. But our problem is the opposite politically. For instance, we've known, I've just listened to an expert on the dollar, getting ready for this show just a couple of days ago. And I'm listening to him explain what happened in 08, 9, 10, 11, 12. All those days that I said, this is going to collapse. They're going to print money and it's not going to be able to hold. Do you remember I talked about Moody's downgrading us and others are going to drop the dollar? Mm-hmm. That was all conspiracy theory. Listening to him, because he was there, he documented everything. That's exactly what was happening, but they didn't talk about it. No one in the global finance community wanted to talk about it because they needed a plan. So now they're coming out and saying, we've got to study this and we have to have a bill passed in the next 6 months, and we're going to talk to everybody. That's all done. Now they're just bringing the sheep along. That's the problem, is most of our problems are because things are so big, giant corporations and giant globalist looking at the whole thing and not including the average person at all. And it won't work. It won't work. Things get too big, like Disney, and it'll work for a while until your people revolt.
And that's what's happening with Disney now.
If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you'll be sure to see similar videos from BlazeTV with the added bonus of signaling YouTube that your voice and opinion still matters. And if you're looking for more great conservative content, check out one of the 2 videos suggested here.